Good morning and welcome to Coffee with Survivors on January the 5th, 2019. I want to wish everybody a happy new year and thank you for joining us this morning. This is a live broadcast on January 5th. It is at 8:45 Mountain Standard Time, which means if it is not in a range of 8:45 to 9:45 Mountain Time on January the 5th, this is no longer a live broadcast and this is a restream. I want to let everybody know that Coffee with Survivors is brought to you by It's a Patient Thing. It's a Patient Thing is a Facebook page set up for patients by patients and puts on various different events throughout the week on Facebook, different live broadcasts, as well as different events uh, around the country and for different people to attend. Want to bring everybody in this morning. Coffee with Survivors is usually an interview show. It is designed to have each patient tell their story the way that they would like to best. Um, it is set up for a different patient to talk each and every week. This week we've had a patient set up. Unfortunately, they had to cancel last night, which means that it's just me today. So my name is Jacob. I am a GBS patient. I was diagnosed with GBS in May, April of 2007. I'm going on 12 years now. I was 12 at the time, which means that I'm at the point where this has made up half of my life, and going forward, it's going to be more than half of my life. Um, GBS is not a fun thing to deal with, and part of dealing with GBS or CIDP is learning how to cope. And one of the things that I've learned over the last almost 12 years is that learning how to cope is about more than just taking the right medication when you're told to and following a regimen and hoping that eventually something might actually get better. That's not always the case. And unfortunately, with me, even though I can follow all of the different things that I'm told to follow, I didn't get better the way that I was supposed to. I was told that once you get GBS, you never get it again. I had a relapse about 2 years after my initial onset. Because my doctor didn't believe it was possible to have that issue, I couldn't get in to see them, and unfortunately, that relapse went untreated. Um, it wasn't as bad of a relapse as my original onset, so I slowly worked back without treatment, but it caused a lot of other issues. And I'm slowly learning how to cope with different ones. Some of them I've gotten better at than others. Unfortunately, others I still haven't figured out how to cope with. Part of dealing with all of this is learning that everybody has a different condition. I don't believe I have Guillain-Barré syndrome. I have Jacob's Guillain-Barré syndrome. I think every patient has a different individual condition, and we all react to it differently. Our bodies all act differently, and everybody has a different issue. Because of that, everybody also needs to have a different and unique specific treatment plan for their specific condition. The treatments that most of the medical community uses are generalized, and there is nothing wrong with that. The medical community looks at everything generalized. Uh, we're going to tomorrow night. We do a weekly um, discussion show on It's a Patient Thing called On the Couch. And tomorrow night, one of the subjects is the flu shot. And we're going to get into the statistics on all of those different things. And one thing that I've noticed doing the research for it is everything is generalized. They take a massive section of people and then talk about how rare the different things can be. Well, when we talk in a specific standpoint, uh, our individual conditions have specific statistics for each and every one of us. I know that for me, if I can do certain things and the chances of those affecting me negatively are different than the chances of those same exact things affecting another patient negatively. Sometimes those same things affect them positively, such as one of the patients that I've gotten to know in the last 3 years is Cynthia Caputo. Um, she, if anybody hasn't seen, is a GBS patient that competes on American Ninja Warrior, and seeing the workouts and things that she does, I know that if I was to do them, I would end up in bed for a month. But for her condition, she can actually do those and they're helping her. For me, I tried doing different things like that and yeah, no, it doesn't work. So every patient has a different experience. Every patient's story matters. That's why Coffee with Survivors exists. Coffee with Survivors, the goal is every week we have a different patient tell their story from their perspective, and other patients can ask questions. They can talk about therapies that have worked for them, and everybody can learn from one another. Patients, in my opinion, are the biggest resource of information that unfortunately in our community is left untapped. And that's why It's a Patient thing exists. That's why if anybody notices on our logo, it says it's a patient thing, you probably wouldn't understand. Patients have a unique perspective that changes the way that we handle things. And understanding from a patient's perspective how they handle what they are going through can help you handle what you are going through. And that can change lives. Okay, thought I was going to sneeze. Let's see if that happens here in a minute. That can change lives. Patients telling their stories and sharing their perspectives can change lives. This page was set up on patient authority, which, like I said, I believe patients are the most untapped resource that we have in our community. So one of the things that we do on It's a Patient Thing, and the way It's a Patient Thing got started was in 2015. There was I wanted to present my story and what I've learned from my story, and unfortunately couldn't find a place where that was a thing. So being the kid I am, and the full of energy, well, we'll just do it anyways kind of person I am, I set up an event where patients were the only ones who were allowed to speak. We, I got three friends, um, and we all presented our stories from a different perspective. We had two GBS and one CIDP. Also had a friend who his wife has something. I don't remember what she specifically has, but he developed a. She can't take any of the topical medications that are on the market, so he developed one that she's not allergic to. So I had him come and talk about their story and about their medication because it's one of the only things that actually works for me when my muscles are really hurting. So Patient Summit was what I called it. It was meant to be a one-time event. where we shared our stories, we shared our perspectives. It made the point, and it was over. Um, it didn't end up being a one-time thing. As soon as it was over, we had multiple people wanting to know, okay, what about next year? And so we had to start a new one and do it the next year and the next year and the next year. So the next year, 2019, Patient Summit is going to be in Nashville, Tennessee. We announced that at Patient Summit 2018. And we are going to be Nashville, Tennessee on September the 6th and 7th. If anybody is planning to attend, that's when you're going to need to get your airline tickets set up. We'll be in Nashville the 6th and the 7th. Still looking for a specific location. I have one picked out. We just have to iron out all the details before I can announce it. But we did sit down. My mom and I, this is part of our bonding and part of our